All right, we're back with the Rose Garden Tea House. And today we're going to finish all the furniture. So keep watching. So the first thing we're going to do is probably one of the biggest pieces in this segment is the cake cabinet. The cabinet itself for this one wasn't that bad. We've made cabinets before. The only thing I would say to be careful with the little side pieces, you're going to notice that it's wider on one side, skinnier on the other. So you want to put the skinny end towards the bigger piece. That's way, because you notice it goes big, small, big, small. That just keeps the consistency. If you did it upside down, I don't think honestly it would matter much. Just do it the same on both sides. Make it even. And then we'll just put the top on here. Should fit just right. And this putting this top on also helps square it up a little bit. And then we'll just set that side to dry for a minute. Now we got to make the window part, and it's from this clear plastic. I checked, it does not have a film to cover it. I tried. So just cut it out according to the pattern. I didn't cut out the pattern. I just, since it's clear, it's quite helpful, just used my ruler and my pen and just lined it out and then cut it out. And my advice would be to definitely pre-crease the folds. It helps you make it a cleaner line. And I just use my little embossing tool thing that I've had forever. Just press down on the plastic. If you use a knife, gently, gently, gently. Don't cut all the way through. I've done that before. But this is just to help fold it. You'll see that pre-creasing helped make sharper lines. It did fit a little weird, so I did have to cut the little corner there a little bit so to fit in the spot where it's supposed to go. But other than that, it fit just right in there. And maybe because I folded it a little too extreme, too inward, I did have to clamp this quite a bit just so that it would stay against the frame. But maybe if I did it again, I would just loosely fold it so that it kind of presses against the frame and I wouldn't have to clamp it as much. Either way, it worked. While that's drying, we're going to make the base. And we're basically going to sandwich 3 pieces. So there's kind of 2 beveled edged ones and then a flat one that goes in the middle. So just stack them up. And then afterwards it kind of looks like a chocolate ice cream sandwich. Maybe I'm hungry, but it does. Once everything's all dry, just glue the top to the bottom and you got yourself a little case. But before we're done with this, we're going to put a little runner down the middle, or not the middle, the bottom. It's just a piece of the lace. And I just cut it to the same length as the bottom of the display cabinet. All right, now we got to fill our cabinet with some yummy goodness. And this is going to be the shelf that goes kind of in the middle. And make sure you peel this one does have coverings on the back and the front, and it's nice and clear. So for all these little cakes, they have like little plates. Now, I debated. You could either just cut these out and leave it as is, as that beige color, or what they want you to do is cut it out of the matte gold. And I opted to do the gold. It's a little more fancy, and it looks nice. This takes some time, but you know, I think it's worth it. It's a lot prettier. So let's go ahead and stick our cakes on. I just pre-stuck every single one. They do match up the sizes, and then we'll add the embellishments a little later. Now we did this little donut guy before with you remember the tiered tea cake stand? So it's just a piece of the gold, the shiny gold, and then a label. And there's two of them. The little Twinkie looking things, they have little labels. I think these are little raspberry or strawberry cakes, maybe? These labels are teeny tiny, so take your time cutting them out. I use scissors just because that's what I'm used to, and that's what I'm the best at. You could use your X-Acto, probably be a little more precise. Just do what you're comfortable with. And we got a couple more raspberry. We're gonna say these are cheesecakes or something. I don't know. They all look tasty. Got all our cakes for the shelf, so we got to do these little labels. Now, in all honesty, I mean, if I had in a magnifying glass, all these little labels do actually say something that matches up with the cakes. I didn't match them up, and realistically, nobody's going to be looking at these super close. But if you're concerned that they don't match the cake, you can read those. You just have to super magnify them. And I think towards the end, I kind of realized that, oh, they do say what they are. And I kind of, if it said cake, I kind of matched it, but I'm sure they're not all matched up. Oh, well. And now we're just going to glue them all onto our shelf. The only tip I would say is just make sure it's on the shelf. Any overhang, you don't want any overhang or anything, because you got to put it in that display cabinet you built earlier. So it's got to fit in there. Yum! We're almost ready to open our little tea bakery. For the bottom shelf, there's a couple cakes on cake stands. So there's one that's kind of a hexagon, and then there's one that's circle, and they're built relatively the same. So you're going to cut out a cardboard piece, and then one's silver and one's gold. So the round one's gold, the hexagon one is the silvery color. And this one gets the little blue cake with the pink flowers and a little label. This is where I kind of sort of tried to read what was on the labels and sort of kind of matched if it said something cake. And I was like, that sounds kind of like what that is. Here's our gold one. This one's just a little different. So you make the stand exactly how you did the other one, except it's round. So we're going to cut out the cardboard piece and then cover it in the gold. And this one has a band around the edges. I just cut a really thin strip of the gold, the muted gold, and then just wrapped it around. So it kind of looks like a coin. And then this one's got a little base, so just one of these little beads I did it upside down and just stuck it on there and let it dry. Once it's all dry, looks good, we're gonna stick our little, this is my oldest son's favorite cake, mint chocolate chip. So I'm gonna call this Anthony's cake. There you go. And we'll just stick it on there. The only tricky part on this one is mine didn't balance exactly right, because if that bead on the bottom isn't exactly in the middle, it's going to be a little off kilter. So when you put it in the display, it was a little tricky to set. And we have 2 more little cakes. They give us this printed little plates, so cut those out. It's a little wiggly around the edges. You could either try to follow the little wiggles. They're so tiny. I mean, I don't blame you for not. Or you can just make a nice little circle out of them. And then we're going to stick our 2 little strawberry cakes. There's a cupcake and a cake. And we do have a sign. So, love is sweet, let them eat cupcakes. What you're going to do is you're going to cut all these pieces out. I stuck one side, so the side with the words, I just stuck it directly on the cardboard and then cut it out. It's easier. And then that way all you have to do is cut out the backs to be exact. And you're going to do it with the little triangle piece. That's the stand. The same thing. Once you have your pieces, you just glue your little triangle to the back and you got a little stand or a sign that stands up. That's what I mean. All right, now we're gonna stick all our big cakes on the bottom. We're gonna build this from the bottom up. And it does fit nice and tight in there. I don't know how they get their cakes out when they sell them. But very cute. And you want to build it from the bottom up, and you can see where that side, that one there, it wants to tip a lot. So I had to prop that up until it dried for a little while. But you build the bottom because this kind of dictates where the next shelf goes. You don't want to put the middle shelf in first, and then you're going to find out that you don't have enough room for your cakes on the bottom. So just do the bottom, and then you're going to put your shelf in. Putting this shelf in was a little tricky because, you know, it's heavy and it just doesn't want to, you have to hold it there. My best bet was I put a clothespin on each side to kind of brace it up so that it would hold it up, because they want you to have it at a kind of an angle so you can see all the little cupcakes and things. But I held it there for a while, and then I put some clothespins underneath to help it stay there, because it did slide a lot if I didn't hold it. And we have another smaller display cabinet, and I will tell you that this cabinet, I don't know why it was so difficult. I was ready to throw it out the window. The bigger one, so easy, put together perfectly. This one, we were not friends. So everything starts out the same, it's just smaller. Cut out your piece, pre-crease it. It's the building of the framework. I wish it was more like the other one. This one's got more little tiny pieces that I don't think was necessary. It should have just been a front, 2 sides, and then put the top on, just like the other one. I don't know. They had to make it a little fancy, I guess. Okay, so here's our pieces. And there's a little shelf in this one too. That one's got the one with the brown paper. You take that brown paper off and the film off the top, and it's a nice clear little shelf. So it looks like it should be like the other one, but nope. They are building this so weird. So those two squares are the front and the back. And then the two little strips connect the two. I don't know. I got it in the end, but it collapsed on me so many different times. I don't know if there's a right or wrong way to do this, but it sure didn't work for me. So I got this far and it worked pretty good. I probably should have let it just dry completely. Maybe that was my folly there. So if I let this dry completely before trying to stick the plastic piece in there, it would have been much easier in hindsight. Hey, that's why we do these. We learn something new, right? And I'm making this mistake so you don't have to. And you could tell by the millions of clamps that this was not a fun time. I just kept telling myself, patience, patience, patience. Okay, now we got our frame. Looks like a little fish aquarium with a hole. And somehow we got to put this shelf in the middle. And I'll tell you that I got glue everywhere. Oh well. It's not pretty. I am not proud of this piece. It was so frustrating. You don't know. And then you have to stick the bottom on without destroying your whole piece. I know I didn't follow the way that they wanted you to do it, and maybe, just maybe, that would have saved my brain. But no, I had to do it the hard way. Live and learn. And once you get the bottom reasonably in, then you stick the little topper on there. Okay, we're going to let that dry for a while and clear our brain, and we're going to make some of the cake parts that go in this display. So they have this kind of, it's probably a lemon meringue pie or something. And all you're going to do on that is you're going to put a little red bead on there to look like an embellishment. I could not find mine. So I have this little box of just remnants from leftovers of different kits and things like that. And I thought these little leaves, I think they will look just fine on here. We'll use that as like a mint garnish. Hey, improvise. And besides, I think it's almost cuter with the little leaves on top. Kind of worked out in our favor. Alright, next up we have this little bowl, and I'm guessing it's probably going to be tea leaves or something like that. So I just fringed it up and then just chopped it into little teeny tiny confetti pieces. Just enough to fill the bowl. And this was another one. I couldn't find the little piece that the little label that goes in there. So I just kind of cut a piece of paper that kind of have words. It's going to be way in the display, so you won't really see it, but just enough to kind of, is that words? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Yeah, just had to make it up. I started this kit, I would say at least a year ago. So I am not shocked at all that some pieces are missing. We'll fix it. It's okay. And here's our little display case, trying to clean some of the glue off. It's not too bad. Could be better. Not my proudest moment, but that's okay. We'll fill it with cake. Everybody likes cake, right? There we go. Looks fine. Still cute. All right, now we're going to make this little scale. It's probably to weigh out the tea leaves and things like that. It's not as hard as it looks. So you can use this little clamp dealy bob. I know there's a name for them, but I bent it just enough so it'll fit in the base. And then you're going to take two of the littler clamp things. I think they're for jewelry, you know, when you make pendants and things like that. You're going to straighten it out. And you're going to have two pieces, and then glue them together, kind of like a curly mustache. This one, I would probably wait for that glue to dry for a little while and then squish it down. So that top piece just folds over and squishes down. While I'm waiting for that to dry, I'm just going to fill one with the little tea leaves, just like we did that little bowl. Just do little fringy confetti. And then the other one has kind of a weight. It's basically an earring backing, which is genius. I do these kits and I always learn different things like, oh, that's clever. I know exactly what this part is. And of course it looks like a little weight. Or the little pendant holders look like scales, you know, different things like that. I do say the hardest part of this, it was balancing these little guys. And I do realize that I forgot to put the little, there's a couple pieces that go in those loops. I don't think it would have mattered. But I just kind of balanced it and then used a lot of things to prop it up. Alright, we took the little braces off and it all stuck together. Amazing. Pretty good. That's some heavy tea, I guess. Alright, let's add the toppers on. There we go. The biggest piece here, well, in this episode, it's all done. Very cute. All right, we got a few more things to make that's furniture-wise. One of them is this little tray. Very easy. You're gonna use that piece of, it looks like a little wallpaper. You're just gonna stick the frame on it like you're doing a picture. I don't cut them out. I just glue it directly on and then cut it out. Then it's a little more form-fitting. We sliced a couple more lemon slices. I'm going to cut out my piece of lace. It's just one little scallop worth of that. And we did have one green cupcake left over from when we made the other ones. And that's where this one goes. It's all full circle, right? All the things that we've done before. Now it's going to be easy peasy, right? And then we just stick it all on our tray. Cute as can be. Tea is ready with extra lemon. Sounds good to me. I like lemon. We have a little table, and it's not tricky at all. So I just had to figure out which is the front and which is the back. So on the back of the two oval pieces, we're going to stick the long pieces of plank there. That's just the bracer in the middle, if you ever look at a table. And I do double check that it's at least relatively centered, because you don't want a wobbly table if you can help it. And then you're going to glue the little feet to the legs, let that dry a little bit, and then we'll glue it to the table. It's always tricky when you have to put a shelf that's hanging in midair. I mean, if you built an actual table, it's easy because you can nail it in and hold it and clamp it. But when it's teeny tiny, it's a little different. All you have is glue, right? So I did find, I just used the battery pack that was for the lights for this kit, and it just happened to be just the right gap. And I put it there, and then I'm going to put the shelf kind of, that's going to be the brace for it. And after it's all dry, ta-da! Not too shabby. Cute little table. Of course, we can't make just a table. We have a lot of little things that go on this table. First thing is this little basket. So it's got an oval bottom, and then you're going to make a long strip that goes around the edge so that you kind of look like a woven basket. This one I just glued a lot and clamped a lot. And I did somehow end up with a too short of piece, but we'll make it work. It's a good thing I have a bajillion clothespins. Because, yeah, the brick wouldn't have worked in this situation because it's so small. I have to do one side and then make sure your clamps don't get glued to the piece. So you take it off and then you do the other side, and then you get like a long ribbon piece. Okay, now we finally got our long strip. And what makes this worse is this is so fringy. It just wants to fall apart a lot. So lots of glue, which does work in your favor because you want it kind of stiff to be the edging of your basket. So while it's drying, we're going to make a little vase with some flowers. And they got these really pretty roses. And you're supposed to squish them down a little bit so that they're not so big, because they seem like they're huge. But there's going to be an orange one and a pink one. And then you're going to use a little piece of the fern in there. And you got a little flower arrangement. Okay, now we just gotta put it around the edge of our little cardboard piece. And mine, probably because it fringed too much at the end, it just wasn't quite long enough. How I fixed this rough edge, yeah, see how it just, a lot of the fibers fell out, so it just made it a little bit too fringy for my liking. I put a bunch of glue on there, and then I taped it. And then I just trimmed the tape down. It's going to be towards the back, so you won't see it, but I trimmed it down just enough so it'll hold in place, and no one's none the wiser, right? Also, we're going to stick this little piece of lace in there, and that'll cover up even more. See, put the bat into the back. We got a couple pieces of paper to go in there, and then we're going to make a couple ribbon spools. To make the spools, you're just gonna stick these little tiny wood pieces, well, they're not wood, but paper that looks like wood, onto your cardboard and cut them out. And they wanted 2 different color ribbons. In the pictures it showed a pink and a blue. I had the blue, but I don't know where the pink went. But luckily, I have a ton of ribbon, and I just happened to find another skinny ribbon. It was green. That's okay. It doesn't matter what color. And I just cut a little snippet of that off. See, we always adapt. And you just wrap it around your little spools. I mean, easier said than done. I would suggest maybe gluing the end down first, let it dry, then you have something you can pull on, and then wind it around. They wanted the little ribbon to be kind of falling out a little bit, but I kept mine a little tight. I keep a tight little shop. And put them in your basket. Very cute. Doesn't matter what color they are. All right, let's fill up our table. So our little basket goes on the bottom shelf. Luckily, and I didn't measure it, and it didn't tell you a measurement, to be honest. Luckily, it fits in there. And you have this cute little cash register that goes on there. But first, and I'm going to realize it, we got to put a little lace, like a tablecloth on there first. And then stick our little guys on there. Okay, going through the book, it looks like we only have a couple more pieces of furniture to do. So we have 2 pink bar stools and we have a black chair, just one. Now for the wooden chair, I think they wanted a clear piece for this bottom. I used the cardboard, it just felt better. I mean, why waste a perfectly good acrylic piece when I can use it somewhere else? And I got cardboard galore if I run out. So I'm just going to glue this to the bottom of it's like a burlap. Leave enough gap around the edges. I put a little glue around the edge here, so when I push it through the wooden circle, it'll kind of glue itself in, because the material has holes in it, so it's going to kind of seep through. So my idea is it'll kind of glue itself in a couple ways. I'm going to push it through, clamp it down, and let it dry, and then I'll just trim any excess around the edges there. And that's the seat of it. We multitask a lot, so while that's drying, we're going to make the seats of the pink stools. So you're just going to glue the 2 pieces, so one has holes and one doesn't. So you're just going to glue those two together. Each seat has its own little batting. My usual, I'm just sticking it directly onto the batting and then cutting it out. And then while I'm waiting here, I'm going to cut all the legs out. So you're going to have 4 legs. I think I made a little short. I went 3, but I can always go back and cut some more, which I did. And then you're going to cut 1 long piece for the circle in the middle, the kind of the footrest. To make the circles, there's a couple ways you can go. They suggested wrapping it around a bottle top, which is a great idea. You certainly could do that. Or I'm going to use my round nose pliers and just make a circle, go around, round, round, round. And make it as round as possible. And you're going to make 2 of those. And then you're going to stick your pink material, the corduroy here, and you're just going to stick it on each one. Just make sure there's enough slack all the way around that you can kind of gather it up on the sides. You'll also need a long strip of this stuff for each of the sides there. I measured out about 3 lines full, but I think, and I can always trim it later. It's better to go over than under. I'm going to gather up the sides here, and it was a little tricky. I thought of, maybe I can put a rubber band around it, or I can clamp it. So I ended up clamping it as best as I could and just let it dry before I try to put the band around the edges. And back to the wooden chair. That's reasonably dry and trimmed down. So I'm just going to glue the back on. I'm going to let this dry before I try to flip this upside down and put the legs on. We're just going to try to save ourselves some headaches. Okay, putting on these legs, it was strange because you have to line it up with the back. I'm glad I pre-glued that backing on. And then you just line up so it looks like it's all one piece. So you have to kind of line it up. But then you also have to line it up in the front, and you'll see after I stick these on. So now you're going to see if you want to put this little loop-de-loop in the front, it doesn't fit if you put the legs on how you would do with your instincts. I tried to glue it to the wooden thing. You kind of have to squish them in a little bit so that that little C shape there, it has like a continuous little loop-de-loo, like the picture there. And you do have to kind of hold it up with your hand. It's a little awkward. It's doable. I did it. And it should look a little something like this. I don't dare flip it upside down. I'm going to wait for it to dry. You'll see it at the end. Okay, we're back with the stools. So we've taken all our clips off, and we're going to have to do a little bit of trimming. Because I made mine a little bit long, but I did that on purpose so that we can have give some meat to work with. And next, once you got that all stuck down, this is nice to hide all those rough edges. We're just going to put our edging all the way around. Whether you folded it, left it the way I did, or used a ribbon, whatever, just put it all the way around. Make it nice, neat, and tidy. Doing these legs, I had a slight flashback of doing a certain wire shelf for a certain flower shop. But it wasn't that bad. It started out kind of worrisome because I stuck all these little legs on and they did not want to stand up any which way that I wanted them to. But I came up with a plan. Once I got this far, and I really did try, I was like, maybe the ring will go on the outside and hold it up, or I thought about this. So what I came up with is I'm going to flip these, after I put all the little legs in, I'm going to flip them right side up, line it, and then I'm going to use my clothespin so that it'll have enough space, because that footrest, it kind of goes more towards the bottom. So I needed something to hold it up just enough. The clothespins were a perfect height. Set the ring on, put my stool over the top, and glue it in place. It actually worked out really well. And after I picked it up from my little clothespin jig here, it actually turned out pretty good. One kind of had a kind of a spiral effect. Hey, we're going to go with it. It kind of was an even little, every leg was crooked. And then one turned out just about right. So I call that a win. Not bad. It could have gone so much worse. And our chair dried in the right places. Not too shabby. All right, we finished all the furniture for this little tea house. We got a display cabinet full of yummy goodness inside. We even made a scale for tea. We made a little table with cash register and a basket and a couple stools and a chair, even a little tray of tea. We did a lot. There's a lot of tiny things in this kit. If you do decide to tackle this one, just know it's just a smidge more advanced than, say, some of the Mayberry Street ones, or there is some really easy real lives too. So this has got a little more technique involved, but nothing we can't do, right? So in the next video on this series, we're gonna have the finale. We're gonna build the building and all the plants and put it all together. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss it. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.